chosen one. Why does your bank account scream empty when your faith says full? Why does every unexpected bill feel like a death sentence at your age? Why, after decades of tithing, praying, believing, does it still feel like God put you on the financial wait list while everyone else gets their breakthrough? Stop right there. Chosen one, if you're hearing my voice right now, this is not a coincidence. This is a divine interruption. Heaven literally rerouted your day so you'd land here in this moment. Because Archangel Michael himself has been dispatched with a message about your provision. Not next year, not someday, right now. I know who you are. You're 73 years old, watching your savings evaporate faster than morning dew in August. You're 68, lying awake at 3 a.m. doing math in your head. Prescription costs versus groceries, rent versus helping your daughter who just lost her job. You've worked your entire life, paid your dues, served God faithfully, but money still feels like water slipping through your fingers. And here's the question that's been eating at your soul. Lord, why does it feel like you've forgotten me financially? Listen to me carefully. What I'm about to tell you will shatter everything you thought you knew about divine provision. This isn't another feel-good sermon about patience. This is an emergency transmission from the courts of heaven, and Archangel Michael, God's warrior, his enforcer, has been assigned to your case. Here's what you're about to discover in the next hour: why your finances have been under relentless attack, what God has been orchestrating in the invisible realm while you've been exhausted and afraid, and the supernatural shift that's happening over your life right now, a shift so massive that heaven's appointed its strongest angel to guard it. Before we go deeper, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let the Holy Spirit lead your heart. But stay with me, because in just a few minutes, I'm going to walk you into a courtroom in heaven where something over your life is being stamped paid in full. I'm going to show you the heavenly operating room where God himself is touching your nervous system and rewriting your entire money story. If this already feels like it's speaking straight to your situation, if your spirit is stirring right now, drop a comment. I'm listening, Lord. Don't scroll past this. That's your first act of trust. That's you telling heaven you're ready to receive what's been prepared for you since before you took your first breath. Your financial famine, it has an expiration date. And that date just arrived. Why can't you move like you used to? Why does your body feel like it's wearing cement shoes even after a full night's sleep? Why do you wake up at 2:04 and say, "I'm not to use the bathroom," but just awake staring at the ceiling with a weight on your chest you can't explain? Listen to me, dear one. That exhaustion you've been apologizing for, that's not weakness. That numbness you feel when you look at the bills scattered across your kitchen table, that's not depression. That strange paralysis that hits you in the middle of the day when you should be doing something, anything, but instead you just sit there, heavy and still, that's not laziness. Heaven calls it divine anesthesia. You thought you were just getting old. You thought maybe it was the medications, the arthritis, the weight of 70-some years finally catching up. But what if I told you that God himself has been administering a spiritual sedative? What if your body's shutdown wasn't failure, it was preparation? Before any surgeon touches a patient, they do one thing first. They put you under. They slow everything down. Your heart rate drops. Your breathing steadies. Your muscles go limp. Why? Because if you were awake and fighting, you'd interfere with the very healing you desperately need. You'd clench. You'd resist. You'd try to fix it yourself. That's exactly what God has been doing with you. For decades you've been running on survival mode. Working 2 jobs, raising kids, stretching dollars until they screamed, fighting, hustling, making it happen by sheer willpower. Your mantra has been, God helps those who help themselves, except that's not even in the Bible. And now, when your body finally can't keep up the pace, when your mind goes foggy, when your strength gives out, you think you've failed. No, chosen one, you've finally surrendered. The prophet Daniel understood this. Daniel 10:15 tells us, I had no strength left, my face turned deathly pale, and I was helpless. This wasn't weakness, this was a man encountering divine presence so powerful that his human systems couldn't handle it. He had to be shut down before he could be upgraded. Psalm 40:30 isn't a gentle suggestion. Be still and know that I am God. That word, still, in Hebrew Rapha, it means to let go, to stop striving, to cease fighting. God is literally forcing your hands off the steering wheel because you've been driving toward the cliff for years, thinking it was the highway. That heaviness you feel, that's not depression settling in. That's God's hand pressing you down onto the operating table of His grace. That numbness when you look at your bank account, that's divine anesthesia numbing the panic so He can operate on the root, the fear, the control, the generational curse of never enough that's been running your bloodline since your grandparents' generation. Right now, as I'm speaking these words, you are in the heavenly air, intensive care of the soul. God has put your survival mode, your hustle mentality, your I'll figure it out myself programming on the surgical table. And Archangel Michael, heaven's head of security, God's enforcer, is standing guard at the door, making sure nothing and no one interrupts this procedure. If you felt that strange heaviness, that inexplicable numbness, that paralysis that makes no medical sense, type, that's me right now. You're not crazy, you're not lazy, you're in surgery. And what I'm about to show you next will reveal exactly what God is removing while you lie there unable to move. Because, chosen one, you did collapse by accident. You were anesthetized on purpose. And the question burning in heaven's operating room right now is this: will you stop fighting the very surgery that's about to save your life? You know that night, don't you? That strange night when your body felt like it was filled with cement. You tried to move your arm, nothing. Tried to turn your head, paralyzed. Your mind was half awake, half somewhere else, caught between this world and another realm you couldn't name. Your heart pounded. You wanted to scream, but your voice was locked in your throat. And there was this presence, heavy, undeniable. Something in the room with you that your eyes couldn't see, but your spirit knew was there. You thought you were having a stroke. You thought maybe this was it, the end. You prayed desperately, God, please, not like this. But listen to what was really happening that night. You weren't abandoned. You were surrounded. Picture this, and I need you to see this with your spiritual eyes, not your natural ones. Heaven opened an invisible operating room right there in your bedroom. The lights dimmed to almost nothing except for one source, a glow emanating from the surgeon's hands as he bent over you. God Himself, the great physician, reaching into the deepest part of your nervous system, into the wiring of your brain where fear has built its nest for 70 years, where panic attacks your chest every time an unexpected bill arrives, where your stomach drops when the phone rings and it might be bad news, where your mind races through worst-case scenarios the moment your bank balance dips below a certain number. He was rewiring you, unplugging you from the frequency of fear and plugging you into something your mind can't manufacture, the peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:10 calls it a peace that guards your heart and mind. But you can't guard what you don't first operate on. And standing right there beside the table, Jesus, the one who bore every wound, who knows what it feels like when your body betrays you, when your strength fails, when hope feels like a foreign language. His hand was on your chest, not to restrain you, to steady you, Isaiah 4:10 whispers, "Fear not, for I am with you." But here's what will blow your mind. At the door of that room, sword drawn, wings spread, eyes burning like fire, stood Archangel Michael, God's enforcer, heaven's warrior. And he wasn't there for decoration. He was there because this surgery mattered. Because what God was doing in you that night was so critical, so eternal that no demon, no spirit of poverty, no principality of fear was allowed anywhere near you. Michael's assignment: guard the procedure. Make sure the enemy couldn't interrupt what heaven was orchestrating. You thought you were alone in the dark. You were actually in the most protected space in the universe. And what was being healed? Not just your body, your reaction to money, your response to lack, the way terror grips your throat when you open the mailbox, the shame you feel when you can't help your grandkids the way you want to, the belief that God has somehow forgotten you financially. All of it being extracted, being rewired, being transformed. But why would heaven go to such lengths for your provision? Why would Michael himself be assigned to your case? Because in just a moment, I'm going to take you into a spiritual courtroom where the enemy is screaming that you don't deserve provision and you need to hear how God shuts that lying mouth forever. Are you ready to see what Michael is really protecting you from? You gave 43 years to that company. 43 years of early mornings, missed family dinners, swallowed pride. And what did you get? A gold watch they mispronounced your name on, and a pension that inflation devoured like a hungry wolf. You raised children who now live 3 states away, too busy to call. You tithed faithfully when you had it and when you didn't. You showed up, you sacrificed, you believed that if you just worked hard enough, gave enough, stayed loyal enough, everything would be okay. But it's not okay, is it? You're watching grocery prices climb while your fixed income stays frozen. You're rationing medications. You're saying no to your grandchildren because there's nothing left to give. And somewhere deep in your chest, there's a question you're afraid to speak out loud. God, where are you in all this? Did I do something wrong? Did you forget about me? Let me tell you something that's going to shake you. The abandonment you feel, it's not from God. It never was. You've been pouring your life into a bucket with cracks at the bottom. For decades, you poured everything you had into that bucket: your time, your energy, your hope, your trust. The paycheck, the pension plan, the government promises, the children you raised. Even the church sometimes became the thing you depended on more than the God who built it. And every time one of those things shook, every time the company downsized, or the stock market crashed, or the kids stopped calling, or the church leadership disappointed you, it felt like God was shaking. But beloved, it wasn't God who failed you. It was the false providers you didn't even realize you'd been worshipping. Psalm 94:63 says it plain, "Put not your trust in princes nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help." That includes corporations. That includes Wall Street. That includes social security checks. That includes anyone or anything that positioned itself between you and Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides. Here's the truth that's going to set you free. God has been systematically disconnecting you from every unstable source, so he can become your only source. What felt like abandonment was actually divine intervention. What looked like loss was actually liberation. That shaking you felt, that wasn't punishment. That was God saying, "Stop drinking from cracked cisterns when I'm offering you a spring that never runs dry." Jeremiah 23 burns with this exact accusation. "My people have committed 2 sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water." You've been trying to fill yourself from broken systems. But there's an underground spring, ancient, eternal, unlimited, and God is about to show you where it is. If something you trusted got shaken in the last few years, your job, your investments, your relationships type, I felt the shaking right now. That shaking wasn't random. It was strategic. God was clearing the field. Because what I'm about to show you next, you need empty hands to receive. Close your eyes for just a moment. I need you to see something that's happening right now in the realm you cannot see with natural eyes. There's a courtroom in heaven, massive, ancient. The throne of God sits elevated, blazing with fire and authority. You're standing there, chosen one. And I know exactly how you look in this moment, shoulders heavy, head down, shame wrapped around you like chains. Because standing across from you is the accuser, the enemy of your soul, and he's holding a file with your name on it. Listen to what he's screaming at the judge. This one doesn't deserve provision. Look at their past. Look at the bankruptcy in IT. Look at the business that failed. Look at the debt they're still carrying at 72 years old. Look at the poverty that ran through their family line. Their grandfather died broke, their father struggled, and now them. Every word is a knife. Every accusation is true. You can't deny it. The facts are the facts. Your credit score is the evidence. Your bank statement is Exhibit A. And standing there in that courtroom, you feel exactly like you felt for the last decade, unworthy, forgotten. Like maybe God's blessings are for everyone else but not you. But then, someone steps forward, Jesus Christ, your advocate. 1 John 2:1 calls him this. We have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous. And he doesn't argue with the facts. He doesn't debate your history. He simply points to his hands, his side, his scars. Look at the cross, he says. I already paid their debt. Every financial failure, every bad decision, every generational curse, I purchased their freedom. It's finished. And right beside you, Archangel Michael, God's enforcer, his warrior, draws his sword. Not to fight you, beloved, to guard the verdict that's about to be released over your life. The gavel comes down like thunder. Case dismissed, paid in full. Do you hear that? Romans 10:1 declares, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus. No condemnation over your finances. No shame over your struggle. No penalty for your past. The debt has been cancelled. The accusation has been silenced. But here's what changes everything. Here's the shift that will revolutionize how you pray from this moment forward. You're not begging God for random help like some spiritual lottery ticket. You're agreeing with a verdict that's already been filed in heaven's court. Provision isn't a maybe, it's a covenant promise. Romans 10:32 asks the question that destroys every doubt. He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? If God gave you Jesus, why would he withhold a paycheck? If he gave you salvation, why would he deny you provision? Philippians 4:19 isn't a wish, it's a legal guarantee. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. All your need. If you receive that verdict, if something in your spirit just broke free from shame and stepped into sonship, type it right now. Paid in full. Hit that like button as your agreement with heaven's ruling. And if you haven't subscribed, join this family. We're walking through these battles together. But now that you understand the legal side, we need to talk about why the enemy fought your finances so viciously. Because your money was never just about you. It was always meant to fund something that terrifies hell itself. You want to know why the battle over your finances has been so vicious. Why every time you got ahead, something knocked you back. Why medical bills came in waves, why your car broke down right when you had money saved. Why it felt like hell itself was assigned to keep you broke. Because the enemy saw what God hid in your provision. Listen to me carefully, dear one. The devil never wastes ammunition on empty targets. He doesn't send his fiercest demons to attack people who pose no threat. But your money, your provision, That was under relentless assault because it was never just about you paying your bills and buying groceries. Your provision is tied to other people's freedom. Think about it. That grandson struggling with addiction, he needs rehab, and insurance won't cover it. That single mother in your church, her lights are about to be shut off. That ministry feeding homeless veterans down on Flatbush Avenue, they're 1 month from closing their doors. God didn't plan for you to just get by until you die. He planned for you to be a river in your final years. Proverbs 10:22 says it plain, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, not just memories, not just old photos and grandma's recipes, an inheritance, financial backing, kingdom investment that outlives your body. But here's what breaks my heart. The enemy convinced you that your poverty was punishment, that your struggle meant God was mad at you, that barely surviving was somehow making you more spiritual. That's a lie straight from hell. Every eviction notice you received was curriculum. Every time you had to choose between medication and food was training. Every moment of financial humiliation was God building something in you that prosperity alone could never create, compassion mixed with wisdom. Because when provision finally comes, you won't be like these fools who get money and forget where they came from. You'll steward it like the weapon it is. You think Archangel Michael has been assigned to you because you're special. Yes, you are, but not in the way you think. Michael isn't guarding a person. He's guarding a supply line. You're not just a senior citizen counting down days. You're a reservoir on a hill, and when God fills you up, entire valleys below you get watered. This is why the warfare was so intense. This is why hell threw everything at your bank account. Because they knew what was coming. They knew that once you stepped into provision, you wouldn't just bless yourself, you'd fund deliverance for people who don't even know your name yet. Every unpaid bill was boot camp. Every financial crisis was war college. Every moment you wanted to give up but didn't was you earning your commission as a general in God's economy. You are not here to retire from purpose. You are here to finance it. If you feel this hitting your chest right now, if something deep down is confirming that your life isn't over and your assignment is bigger than your bills, say it out loud. Write it in the comments. My assignment is bigger than my bills. Because what I'm about to show you next will give you 3 daily alignments. Simple but powerful, that will open you up to this flow of provision and keep you living in trust instead of that 3am anxiety that's been stealing your peace for decades. Here's what Archangel Michael whispered to my spirit last night. They're praying, but they're living in tension. Their bodies are clenched. Their stomachs are tight. They check their bank balance more than they check in with me. Does that cut close? Be honest with yourself right now. You see, beloved, trust isn't something you feel once during Sunday service and then forget by Monday morning when the bills arrive. Trust is a daily realignment. A choice you make before your feet hit the floor. And Michael has given me 3 specific instructions. 3 daily practices that will shift you from anxiety to authority. First, attention before the news, before the bills. Listen carefully. The first 5 to 10 minutes of your morning do not belong to CT. They don't belong to your phone. They don't belong to worrying about what your daughter texted you at midnight. Those first sacred minutes belong to the one who kept your heart beating while you slept. Before you reach for anything else, speak this declaration out loud, and I mean out loud. Lord, you are my provider today. Not my social security check, not my pension, not my children's goodwill, you. Proverbs 3:5 doesn't say trust in the Lord when you feel like it. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That word, lean, in Hebrew means to support yourself on something. You've been supporting yourself on your bank statement. God is saying, lean on me first. Here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, sit on the edge of your bed and say, Today I choose trust over tension. Say it 3 times. Feel the difference in your chest when you speak it. Radical honesty and surrender. This is what's on my table. Now we go deeper. I want you to do something that might feel strange, but it's biblically sound. Take every bill you're worried about, every prescription bottle, every past due notice, every list of needs, and physically place them on your kitchen table. Look at them. Don't hide from God what He already sees. Then pray this. Father, you see this. You see what's crushing me. I give you my fear and I give you my timeline. I'm not going to pretend I'm okay when I'm not. Psalm 6:2-18 says, pour out your heart to Him, for God is our refuge. The word pour means to empty completely. No holding back. No religious performance. Raw honesty unlocks supernatural peace. Here's what Michael wants you to understand. The moment you stop hiding your panic from God is the moment His provision can flow. You've been wearing a mask in prayer. Take it off. Obedient micro steps in gentle generosity. This final alignment is where most people stumble. God speaks in whispers, not earthquakes. He'll nudge you to make a phone call, to ask for help, to downsize something you've been clinging to give $5 to someone even when you only have 20. That last one terrifies you, doesn't it? But Luke 6:13 promises, give and it will be given to you. This isn't about buying miracles. This is about training your heart that God is bigger than your scarcity. If these 3 alignments are speaking to your spirit right now, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to understand what God is doing in your life. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join this family of late life warriors who refuse to live in fear. Because here's what's coming next. I'm about to show you the courtroom scene where your case is being heard right now. And the verdict will shatter every limitation you've accepted. Chosen one, we've reached the moment where everything shifts. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. I need you to do something that might feel strange, but stay with me. If you're able, place your hand over your heart. Feel that beating. That's not just biology. That's divine rhythm. That's proof you're still here for a reason. If you're alone in your house right now, I want you to say these words out loud with me. Your voice carries authority in the spiritual realm. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it. Now release it. God, you have not forgotten me. Say it again. Let it sink past your doubt, past your bank statement, past every bill sitting on your kitchen table. God has not forgotten you. My life is not over, it's being repositioned. You're not in your sunset years, beloved, you're in your setup years. Every struggle positioned you. Every closed door redirected you. Every sleepless night about money was actually heaven's operating room preparing you for what's next. Jesus, I receive the verdict stamped over my life, paid in full. Not paid partially, not paid eventually, paid in full. Every debt the enemy claimed against you, every accusation whispered in the midnight hour, every lie that said you'd die broke and forgotten. The gavel has fallen. The case is closed. Archangel Michael, thank you for guarding what God is doing in me right now. This warrior angel isn't decorative, he's deployed, standing between you and every force that's tried to steal your provision. Psalm 1 promises, he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Your financial breakthrough has heavenly security. I choose trust over panic. I choose peace over fear. This is where the battle is won, dear one. Not in your checking account first, in your spirit first. 2 Corinthians 5:7 reminds us, we walk by faith, not by sight. Your sight says you're running out. Your faith says you're about to overflow. Right now, I'm praying over your specific situation, that social security check that barely covers rent. Father, multiply it supernaturally, that pension that's been frozen for years. Lord, unlock what's been held back. Those medical bills stacked on the counter. God, provide in ways that defy explanation. That mortgage payment due in 8 days. Jehovah Jireh, you see and you provide. Lord, align earthly provision with heavenly assignment. If your chest feels warm right now, that's not your imagination. If tears are streaming down your face, don't wipe them away. That's heaven confirming what your spirit already knows. You're being sealed in this moment. Marked, claimed, repositioned for provision that will silence every doubt you've carried. But listen carefully. The way you step out of this video is just as important as what you felt inside it. Because what happens next will determine if this was just inspiration or actual transformation. If you prayed those words with me, if something broke loose in your spirit just now, type, "I choose trust" in the comments. That's not just participation. That's your public agreement with heaven. That's you telling the invisible realm you're done with fear and you're stepping into faith. Because, beloved, Archangel Michael isn't guarding your past. He's guarding what you're about to walk into. Chosen one, look how far you've traveled in this sacred hour. You came in exhausted, wondering if God had forgotten your bills. But heaven performed surgery on your soul. You were paralyzed by divine anesthesia so the Almighty could rewire your entire relationship with provision. You walked through the courtroom where your debt was stamped paid in full. You discovered Archangel Michael wasn't just guarding your finances, he was guarding your bloodline story. This wasn't random, this was assignment. But here's what breaks my heart. I've watched too many believers receive a word from heaven, feel the fire, then go back to their old house and let fear move back in like a familiar roommate. You cannot let that happen. Not this time. Not after what just shifted in the spiritual realm over your life. So before you close this video, I need you to do 3 things in the next 72 hours. Not next month. Not when you feel ready now. First, journal tonight. Write down what resonated. Write down what you felt during that prayer. Write down any dreams, any memories, any moments where something in your chest said yes. Your journal is your witness stand. When doubt comes knocking, you'll have evidence that God spoke. Second, take one act of trust. Make that phone call you've been avoiding. Apply for that opportunity. Have that conversation with your child about boundaries. Give that $20 even though your bank account is screaming. Whatever the Holy Spirit is whispering right now, do it within 72 hours. Faith without works is dead, and trust without action is just wishful thinking. Third, guard your atmosphere. Stop watching the news before bed. Stop letting your friends poison your faith with fear-based money talk. Philippians 14 says, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, think about such things." Your mind is the battlefield, beloved. Protect it like your provision depends on it. Because it does. Now hear me clearly. You are not a burden on society. You are not a leftover from a generation that doesn't matter anymore. You are an elder warrior on the front line of a spiritual war. Heaven sees you as a general, not a victim. Your trust right now at 70, at 80, at 90 is rippling into your children, your grandchildren. Your spiritual children who are watching to see if faith actually works when the checking account runs low. Archangel Michael isn't just guarding your bills. He's guarding your legacy. What you do with this word will echo through your bloodline for 3 generations. So let me hear from you right now. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Right? God will provide for me. Let that declaration rise up from living rooms across America. Let heaven hear the sound of elders remembering who they are. If you want more messages like this, hit that subscribe button. We're building a place where older warriors don't fade, they rise. And if someone you love is drowning in financial fear, send them this video. Sometimes a word from heaven is better than another dollar in the bank. One last thing. If you feel led to support this ministry, you'll find the options below. Only do it from a place of peace, never pressure. Your presence here already matters. Now go, Walk like someone God provides for. Because He does, and He will.